Most people believe they are free. They believe they make their own choices, forge their own paths, and determine their own success. But what if I told you? That's an illusion. From the moment you are born, you are conditioned to follow. You are taught to obey authority, to play by the rules, to seek approval before taking action. Strength, real strength, is not just discouraged, it's systematically erased. Think about it. The strongest minds in history, the thinkers, the revolutionaries, the disruptors, were never celebrated in their time. They were silenced, ridiculed, or eliminated, because strength is dangerous to those who profit from control. This isn't just a coincidence, it's by design. Society rewards compliance, not independence. The system does not want individuals who think for themselves. It wants people who conform, who stay in line, who never question their place. So the question is, have you ever truly been free? Every morning, you wake up, you check your phone, you go to work. You follow a routine that someone else designed for you. You don't resist it because it feels normal, it feels safe. But have you ever asked yourself, who benefits from your obedience? Who profits from your fear of stepping outside the lines? You were never given the option to choose true freedom. You were handed a script and told to follow it. And like most people, you never questioned it, because that's exactly how the system was built. But what if everything you believe about freedom is a lie? You are told you are free because you can vote, because you can choose what to wear, where to work, or what to believe. But none of these choices matter when the entire system is rigged to keep you dependent. Real freedom isn't about options, it's about control. And right now, someone else is controlling you. Your beliefs, your fears, your limits. They were all planted there by a system that never wanted you to think for yourself. So here's the real question. If you are truly free, why do you feel so powerless? Powerful individuals have never been welcomed by society. Those who question authority, think independently, and reject blind obedience are labeled as rebellious, dangerous, or selfish. From childhood, we are taught that being too ambitious is arrogance, that questioning authority is disrespect, that wanting more is greed. But why? Because the system thrives when people remain predictable, compliant, and easy to control. History proves this. Socrates was executed for corrupting the minds of the youth. In reality, he was teaching them how to think critically. Revolutionaries, thinkers, and innovators are always threats to the system because they expose its flaws. Strength, true, independent strength, is punished, while weakness is rewarded. The obedient are praised as model citizens. The rebels are exiled, silenced, or destroyed. But here's the real question. If strength is so dangerous to those in power, doesn't that prove how valuable it truly is? We are taught that morality is about doing the right thing. But who decides what is right? Morality has always been a tool of control. It is weaponized to ensure compliance, to make people feel guilty for prioritizing their own power. Think about it. The same system that preaches generosity, humility, and sacrifice thrives on greed, ambition, and dominance. Religions have been used to justify empires. Governments have used morality to silence dissent. The powerful do not live by the same moral rules they impose on others. They tell you to be selfless so they can remain selfish. They tell you to be patient so they can stay in control. So is morality truly about virtue? Or is it a leash disguised as a guiding light? You are told that financial stability is the ultimate goal. Get a job, buy a house, retire safely. But is that freedom? Or just a better designed prison? A steady job may give you comfort, but it also gives you fear. Fear of losing that job. fear of stepping out of line, fear of breaking free. The system doesn't want you to be rich. It wants you to be just comfortable enough that you never take risks, never challenge authority, never question the rules. Real power comes from the control over your time, your resources, and your choices. But society convinces you that a paycheck is security, when in reality, it's a leash. So ask yourself, is your job giving you freedom or taking it away? The strongest prisons have no walls. They exist in the mind. Most people remain weak because they are trapped by learned helplessness, a condition where repeated failures teach them to stop resisting. If you are conditioned to accept limitations, you will stop trying to break them. Then there's social conformity, the most powerful tool of control. People fear rejection more than they fear failure. They obey not because they believe in the rules, but because they fear standing alone. The world doesn't keep people weak with physical force. It does it through beliefs, expectations, and invisible chains. But here's a question you weren't supposed to ask. What if success was never about hard work, but about knowing the hidden rules of power? Control is the foundation of every major system. Governments, corporations, and institutions do not thrive on strong, independent individuals. They thrive on obedient workers and passive consumers. You are conditioned to believe that success means following the rules, working hard, and being patient. But patience is only rewarded when it benefits those in power. The system is designed to keep you reliant on it, not free from it. Think about it. Who benefits from a population that fears uncertainty and avoids risk? The same entities that control jobs, wealth, and information. They create a world where dependency feels like security, where having a steady paycheck is seen as freedom, when in reality, it's a leash. And what happens to those who break away from this system? They are ridiculed, demonized, or silenced, not because they are wrong, but because they are dangerous. Because true independence means no longer being controlled. The truth is, weakness isn't a natural state. It's a design, and most people never see it. Power is not a gift. It is not granted by authority. It is taken by those who understand the game. Niccolò Machiavelli, in The Prince, revealed a brutal but undeniable truth. The powerful do not wait for permission. They take control by shaping perception, creating fear, and manipulating loyalty. Throughout history, those who hesitated, who asked for permission, who played by the rules, they were left behind. Meanwhile, those who understood that power is about leverage, strategy, and perception, they rewrote the rules in their favor. Look at modern society. The most influential people, whether in politics, business, or media, are not necessarily the smartest or the most moral. They are the ones who understand human nature, control narratives, and use power before it can be used against them. The question is, are you waiting for someone to hand you power, or are you willing to take it? The most effective form of control is not physical, it's psychological. Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow self, the repressed part of our psyche that contains our instincts, desires, and hidden strengths. Society teaches you to deny your shadow, to suppress ambition, aggression, and self-interest. But in doing so, you also suppress your ability to assert yourself, take risks, and claim power. Nowhere is this conditioning more obvious than in education. Schools do not teach critical thinking. They teach obedience. The school system is not designed to create leaders. It's designed to create workers. You are rewarded for memorization, for compliance, for following instructions without question. Independent thought. That's disruptive. This is why most people never escape the system. They are not physically trapped. They are mentally conditioned to fear freedom, to fear standing alone. But what if the very instincts you've been taught to suppress were the key to breaking free? Fairness is an illusion designed to pacify the powerless. You are told that hard work leads to success, that if you follow the rules, you will be rewarded. But history tells a different story. Those who hold power do not follow the same rules they impose on others. They never have. The Roman Empire mastered this tactic. To keep the masses from revolting, rulers gave them entertainment, distractions, and the illusion of fairness. Gladiator games, public festivals, anything to keep people too busy, too entertained, too divided to realize they were being controlled. Now, look at modern society. The same strategy is used, just with different tools. Social media arguments, political outrage, meaningless debates. You are fed just enough hope to keep you obedient, just enough fear to keep you from rebelling. The truth, the game is rigged. The rules are written by those who benefit from them, and those who blindly trust in fairness will always be the ones who lose. We live in an age of unlimited information, and yet most people are more misinformed than ever. Why? Because modern media does not exist to inform or empower. It exists to distract and divide. Outrage, controversy, fear. These are the tools used to keep people emotionally engaged, but intellectually stagnant. The more time you spend reacting, the less time you spend thinking. The more time you spend arguing, the less time you spend strategizing. The system thrives when people are angry, divided, and unfocused. This isn't an accident, it's design. Because people who are distracted by manufactured conflicts never focus on the real enemy. But what if you could break free? What if you could see the system for what it is and learn to rise above it? Most people believe power is about control over others, forcing submission, accumulating wealth, and dominating competition. But that is a misunderstanding. True power isn't about controlling the world, it's about controlling yourself. Look at history. The strongest individuals weren't the ones who ruled with an iron fist, but those who mastered self-discipline, strategic thinking, and emotional resilience. The difference between the weak and the strong is not external, it's internal. Weakness is reactivity, being controlled by emotions, circumstances, and the opinions of others. Strength is autonomy, the ability to remain composed, to think long-term, to act with intention instead of impulse. Society does not fear those who seek control over others. It fears those who have control over themselves. Because a man who is truly independent, mentally, emotionally, and financially, is a man who cannot be manipulated. And that is the system's greatest threat. Your greatest enemy is not the system, it's your own conditioning. From birth, you are trained to seek approval, to fear failure, to believe that security is more valuable than freedom. These beliefs are not truths. They are mental chains designed to keep you compliant. But here's the secret. You can reprogram your mind by questioning assumptions, by rejecting fear-based thinking, by embracing discomfort as a tool for growth. You can unlearn weakness and relearn strength. The moment you stop looking for validation and start trusting your own judgment is the moment you take back control. Money is not about luxury. It's about leverage. The system wants you to believe that wealth is about materialism. It's not. It's about choice. The ability to say no. The ability to walk away. The ability to build a life on your own terms. The weak trade time for survival. The strong invest resources for freedom. That is why financial literacy is discouraged. It creates individuals who don't need the system. If you control your income, you control your future. And if you control your future, you become untouchable. The lone wolf dies alone. The strategist builds alliances. Every powerful figure in history understood this. Napoleon, Rockefeller, Julius Caesar. None of them acted alone. They created networks, influenced key players, and leveraged relationships to maintain control. Society glorifies individualism, but in reality, power is built through strategic connections. Those who isolate themselves fail, not because they lack ability, but because they lack influence. If you surround yourself with strong, intelligent, and resourceful people, you do more than survive. You shape the world. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch was not just an idea, it was a challenge to rise above the masses, to reject mediocrity, to become the architect of your own existence. The strong do not follow trends, they create them. Look at history. Every era was shaped by those who refused to conform. The thinkers, the builders, the revolutionaries. The weak accept the world as it is. The strong reshape it in their image. So ask yourself, are you following the path given to you? Or are you creating your own? Power is not something you wait for. It is something you take. If you do not take control of your mind, your resources, and your influence, someone else will. So here's the only question that matters. Will you keep living by the rules others have set for you? Or will you break free? Understanding the system is meaningless unless you act. Awareness without action is just another form of compliance. Most people, when faced with harsh truths, choose denial because taking responsibility for their own power is uncomfortable. But this is the mindset shift that separates the controlled from the controllers. Stop thinking like a follower. Every decision you make, what you consume, where you invest your energy, how you respond to manipulation, either reinforces the system or reclaims your control. You don't need permission to reshape your life, but you do need the discipline to reject passive acceptance and start thinking strategically. One of the greatest forms of control is validation-seeking behavior. The need for approval keeps people compliant, predictable, and easy to manipulate. From childhood, you are conditioned to fear disapproval from parents, teachers, society. But real power comes from self-trust, not external permission. The moment you stop chasing validation, you become free. Because if you don't need approval, no one can control you. Build an internal source of confidence, one based on skill, knowledge, and self-mastery. When you trust yourself fully, the opinions of others become irrelevant background noise. Blind rebellion is weakness. It makes you a target. The truly powerful don't fight the system head-on. They outthink it. Look at history. Those who openly challenged authority were crushed. Those who understood power dynamics, however, shaped the world from within. To outmaneuver control, you must learn strategic defiance, how to push boundaries without inviting destruction. This means choosing your battles wisely, questioning authority without making enemies, and leveraging systems to your advantage. The system doesn't fear rebels. It fears those who learn to play the game better than those who created it. Wealth is not about materialism. It is about autonomy. The poor trade their time for survival. The rich use their resources to gain control. That is why the system does not teach financial independence, because dependent people are easy to rule. Money allows you to say no, to walk away, to operate outside the constraints of the system. Without financial leverage, you are always at someone else's mercy. This is why the truly powerful invest in knowledge, assets, and networks, because the ability to create wealth on your own terms is the closest thing to real freedom. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he understood the power of internal control. Through stoicism, he remained calm under pressure, unmoved by flattery, and immune to manipulation. He mastered himself, so no external force could break him. If you can control your reactions, emotions, and impulses, no one else can control you. Billionaires, politicians, and world leaders do not operate by chance. They understand leverage, narrative control, and human psychology. They don't wait for power, they take it. The question is, will you continue playing by the rules set for you, or will you start playing to win? From the moment you were born, you were taught to doubt yourself, to question your strength, to believe that you were just another piece in the machine. But that was a lie. You were never weak. You were told to believe you were. Society needed you to doubt yourself, because self-doubt creates obedience. It ensures compliance. It keeps you playing by rules you never agreed to. But now you know the truth, and once you see the system for what it is, you can never unsee it. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Knowing the truth is not enough. Awareness without action is just another form of submission. So ask yourself, will you continue walking the path designed for you? Or will you start creating your own? Will you keep chasing approval? Or will you start trusting yourself? Will you play by the system's rules? Or will you learn how to outthink it? Most people will hear this message and do nothing. Will you be one of them? Or will you be the exception? The choice is yours. But understand this. If you don't take control of your life, someone else will. Do you think society truly wants strong individuals? Or is it all an illusion? Let me know in the comments. And if this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because the first step to breaking free is realizing you were never free to begin with.